Hello, chat. Welcome to the priced hours for California. Hey, Jesse. Thank you so much for that 10 months. Also, NASCAR, Nate. Thank you so much for that beautiful compliment. The song is called I Can't Believe We Never Went Out Dancing. Look at this broken man. So, Indy took California to Guarma. After California got broken out, he went to a PD, ran into a train, took the train to Wallace. Telegrammed a few people that said, I'll be in Big Valley, I'm on foot. That's all he sent. And I left some details of the Redwood cigarette butts, right? California's brand cigarette. And Ramiro and Indy found him. And Indy said, please, come with me to Guam and get away from this place for a while. But California just killed a woman that he loved, blasted the heart out of her chest with an elephant rifle. Not for himself, but for Thieves Landing. He killed her because it meant maintaining the peace. Because he wouldn't have to go to war against Cook. And brother wouldn't have to kill brother. He killed her, he hurt himself. So the West wouldn't cannibalize itself. So Tia, for full disclosure, guys, Tia was trying to leave the Daughters of Fenrir, and she wanted Sunshine to help her. And as a result, Sunshine got killed. And after Sunshine got killed, her and California made a pact together. And she left the Daughters of Fenrir. She no longer fought for her beliefs and gave up her religion for him. Who killed Sunshine? Isa, one of the Daughters of Fenrir. But she only killed him because Ida was being aggressive. Should we claim this tower? Should this be where California stays for right now? The wizard in the tower. The Cult in the Crossing? Yeah, it was a thing. It's been a thing for like a few years. They changed the song. This song sucks. This is fitting. But there's a big fight between Edgar. Yep. There's 3 groups fighting during that, actually. It was badass. Yeah, just said, what's up? Yeah. Hey, Krung. How's it going? I was talking about you the other day when someone clicked on my Discord banner and saw that little goblin set of armies that you drew. Reason the Jimmy voice because it's been so long. We love Jimmy. We love Jimmy in this house. It's very quiet on the island right now. People actually make warm with them. That's true. You dig the California fit? He's rocking it, man. We're on a quest to make bananas. We might head towards the castle. Bananas to forget my beloved. It's exactly what it is. What is this? What is this pink flower? Coca leaves?
Howdy.
Hello. No one speaks English here.
Not much. How did you sleep?
I didn't. How do you sleep?
I didn't. I was hoping to sleep vicariously through you. What a shame.
I'm hoping the sun comes out soon.
Oh?
I don't bear to look up.
Oh. I understand now. Sometimes I don't bear to look up either, but I think it's for a different reason. But very similar, all in the same. You see, I have this brother. His name's Red Lance. He doesn't come around much anymore, but he told me about a bridge of stars. You don't much see it here in Gorma. That bridge. I think that has something to do with La Madre. But in the crossing, it's as gold and bright, almost as the sun. It stretches across the entire sky. The indigenous people of that land, our crossing of ours, believe that sea of stars is a great bridge, one that souls walk along as they depart from this world towards the happy hunting grounds. Each star that you see that collects on the bridge is a memory. As someone walks across that bridge, they shed who they were, each step at a time. until they are completely born anew on the other side and start a new life. So that indigenous believe that stars are memories and past lives that float above us. I doubt that makes it easier to look up.
Yep.
For the moment, it seems like the island is ours, which means I can take you anywhere you like and tell you all about it. Your private tour guide, I suppose.
I have no idea where I want to go or where I should be.
Sometimes you don't need a destination in mind, California. Sometimes you just walk until you can't walk anymore. And then on principle, you walk some more.
I was at the cliff face earlier. I was 6 feet from the edge. And I was thinking, 6 feet ain't so far down.
I have been along those cliff edges before. My quills are all buried along cliff faces. Sometimes I just stand at their graves and wonder, what if I just walk? Until I can't anymore.
Guess that would be our creed. Have to enjoy that one last breath.
Yes.
Oh, 1 second. These random people keep walking up to me with their guns drawn.
The militia.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes. That's the local militia.
I've shot so many of them.
They're not used to it. Herbie spoils them rotten. Then again, they should get used to it. If the rumors are true and Edgar's returned. This place will soon be a bloodbath. I'm not sure if you can even imagine what crimson beaches look like.
Oh, trust me, I can. There we go. I'm auto walking. Hell yeah.
Where would you like to go, California? Just straight.
Guess so. I ain't never been to that. What is that? A castle? A lighthouse? Both?
It's a castle. They say once you step onto this particular beach, past this grove of trees, you have now entered the land of the Castilians. All the beaches here in the forest are the castles to own. You see, unlike the crossing, Guarma is split into factions. You've got the Castilians, you've got the religious sect, and the Bruja up on the mountains.
Which one has the most money?
I would say the Bruja, but then again, who knows how much money a king has?
Usually very little.
Hmm. There used to be one more power here on the island long ago. They lived in that compound. It was the dictator of Guarma. His name was Vasquez. And he controlled over every sector. I think the true Guarma died with Vasquez. And now this is just the raging beast left over.
Too much Creed.
It tempts you, doesn't it? That castle.
What does?
The castle. It tempts you, doesn't it?
No, they don't.
You would be one of the few men of power it hasn't seduced or called to it.
You said the last person that had true power of this place lived in that compound.
You are correct. The compound is far more useful than the castle, which is a basic prison on I don't know, a giant rock.
You know, we both spend a lot of time in a castle. On an island. I think people, if you don't realize it, but they've just made themselves a Sissoko.
There is a prison here, but it's not under the castle. It's under the compound. Very few people know how to get to it. The cells underneath Guarma. They say it still has prisoners of Vasquez in it, rotted corpses and skeletons.
Now that could be interesting for your scientist.
Perhaps. Perhaps if Malcolm ever comes back to this island at the same time I do, I'll show him that place.
What do you think Ramiro's up to around here?
I don't know.
Think the locals kill him yet?
Maybe he's been sacrificed to the Bruja for calling her hot. The last time I was in this castle was with Sunshine. He took me to the top. Because for the longest time, this castle was a physical manifestation of my fears and anxieties.
Hmm. Interesting.
The
Think there's
note.
anyone home? Know what you said?
I'm not sure. How I would love to see this castle burned to the ground. Of all the Castilians in it.
They don't seem to be home.
Perhaps it's past their bedtime.
Tragic.
Have you been told about the Great Gorman Wars, Callie?
No, I've never had any interest to come to this place. Whenever someone started talking about it, I just sort of went, meh.
It's a place that makes people mad, gives them the illusion of power, you see. Though, what power do you have over such a desolate place?
Hmm. These barrels say murder backwards.
Your board is reversed. Rather than the king's being missing, yours misses its queen.
Yeah. Yeah. They're missing out on an opportunity.
What opportunity is that?
Misplacement. You see this cannon?
I see it.
Facing the floor.
When it should be facing out towards the island.
Should be facing towards the last chair.
Oh,
The seat of honor.
there was a time that Edgar gathered his enemies here and the enemies of the island. He had them fill these chairs. There's so many people here that many had to stand. Edgar chose to sit in that chair, the blue one, while Herbie sat in that brown one. You see, Edgar likes to paint a pretty story that he gathered the witch's enemies here, but that wasn't true. Because I was here. Though not personally selected and gathered by him, I had come with a man that I thought that I loved, that I knew had no chance against Edgar.
Richard Gold is here.
Hathaway and a handful of others were here as well. He tried very hard to convince us to join him to overthrow the Bruja. And when that didn't work out and he became frustrated, him and his people opened fire on the entirety of the table. And they call this now the Bloody Wedding. Because every person fired upon that day ended up on the ground, bleeding and gasping for life. The victor can spin the tale however he wishes. He is the victor. That is Edgar's right. But it wasn't the first time he had betrayed people and piled them in a stack of corpses at his own feet. Many times this castle has seen grand betrayal by the hand of its kings.
You know, I think that's my weakness.
Grand betrayal.
I would rather stab myself than betray a friend.
Me too. It's why people like Edgar can easily maneuver around us. Because we lay it all out on the table. He does
Nah,
not.
I don't know about that. So Edgar's never had to deal with me.
I think he might have his handfuls of you. It's a shame you don't have a bloodlust for Gorma. Now, isn't it?
No, I don't.
Maybe not gaudy castles, but perhaps I'll show you that compound. I think it's more your style. I never wanted to come back here to Gorma. There's sunshine that convinced me to. He said it wasn't fair that a clump of dirt like this held such power over me.
Power
Suppose,
is what you make it.
yes.
I'm angry.
I know. Why don't you do the talking and I'll do the listening? Then again, I could ramble away and you can just chirp in whenever the feeling hits you.
I don't
Either
know.
or.
I feel like I shouldn't be here.
Where else should you be?
Isolation, beating the walls, screaming until my lungs no longer held breath. I lay gasping on the floor.
What is one prison island for another? Tia felt very similar that she should be punished.
She was.
It would seem that her guilt has passed on to you.
No. Nothing hers has passed on to me besides her guns. This guilt is my own. The problem is I can't justify being angry about it. Because I can't see any other way. It was only disastrous roads.
No, like this island, magic is what you make of it. The sickness inside your own mind can give it life and can cause it to grow. When Isa pulled the trigger that day and killed Sunshine, she set into motion a series of events that we really could not avoid, even though we tried. It is a witch's curse. Be it magic or just how things are, it's exactly the same.
Oh, you can definitely post them. Yeah, no problem. I think it's just
Her
screenshots thing in
words
my
to
Discord
me
tonight.
in front of Dan Lin solidify it.
There was, at least. No, she
That
was still
she
there.
would walk away unscathed while we ravish each other.
Let me see, let me see, let me see.
Make no mistake,
Well, maybe there's
all of
not.
this is because
Yeah,
she
toss it
pulled the
in clips.
trigger.
Clips is cool.
Pia, Lottie, Sunshine, they would all be alive if not for Isa.
I seek no vengeance.
Sometimes there's no vengeance to be sought.
I think neither should a cook. Neither should a waggy.
I agree. For we've killed every woman, nearly, that Sunshine ever loved. And yet, he is no closer to us than he was when he died. We are just more profoundly lonely.
More blood on our hands for the sake of what? Nothing.
For memory, self, pity, and loneliness. That's why one seeks vengeance for their own twisted emotion that they cannot control. They don't do it for the person who's dead. The dead feel nothing.
She sent me a telegram.
What did it say?
Said, I don't understand. I didn't kill anyone.
She sent me one very similar, but hers, the one that she sent to me, said simply, I want to live. Make no mistake, Tia was a victim of the witch trials. People seen her beliefs, her customs, and her rituals, and they ostracized her for it. They damned her for it. They would have tortured her for it.
She'd given up that life for me.
I know. She told me her feelings and her thoughts about you the first time that I met her. She told me for the first time, rather than frigid cold, she felt warmth. And when she closed her eyes at night, all that she's seen was your eyes staring back at her, all consuming. That she could stare into your eyes for hours and feel that consumption. And she wondered what that feeling could be called, what that warmth felt like, truly, with a name.
Oh, that's rough. That's fucking rough.
I doubt that makes you feel better. The fact that you consumed her thoughts, even in sleep. This is the compound that Vasquez once lived in. The greatest dictator of Guarma. Though I'm sure the people here, the ones that overthrew him and took over his regime, would say that he was a tyrant. But those who've lived on the island since its conception, the original inhabitants and those who came right when the borders opened, would tell you something different. That although cruel Vasquez could be, after all, he is a man who has an entire prison built right under his home filled of his enemies. He could also be warm and compassionate, and the ways that he spoke about La Madre pulled people in. The reason there's people here at all to cultivate this land was because Vasquez had an uncontrollable presence. That people migrated here simply to hear him speak.
You know, Daz says the same thing about me with Thieves Landing.
Yes? I can see the comparison between you and Vasquez. After all, there is a certain power that people have that can draw others in, that can consume them. You have it, Zip has it, and one day when Cook is wiser, he will have that too.
I don't know about that one.
You watch. If he lives long enough, Cook could be the next generation of great Western outlaws, bull-headed and unreasonable as they come.
I hope he learned something from me.
What do you hope that Cook learned?
I hope he knows why I killed Tia instead of shooting him.
I had wondered. Enlighten me.
If I'd gone down that road, tried to save Tia, and fought our way out of a place that I called my home, then why was I fighting in the first place? I'd save Tia, but in the process, everyone else would get hurt. A war would rage. The dirty boys would back me up, help me kill more people that I called friends. Winnie might have died, Daz might have died, Cook might have died, I might have died, Ramiro might have died, Ben might have died, myself, Slick Rick, Dirty Doggy, Roger Kennedy, and so on. Alongside a war with the law that we would have easily lost if we were too busy fighting each other. So even though it killed me, I sacrificed my queen for the rest of the board.
The thing about Chest, despite how much that it hurts, is that a worthy pawn can make it across that board and also become a queen. But it takes time, and it's never as powerful as the original.
That's what I called her. I called her a pawn that made its way to becoming a queen.
That's because she was powerful in a way that Cook would never understand.
Sad times, sad times.
You see, there's 100 different types of powerful. Callie,
Hmm.
you have your typical gunslinger. That's what people relate to power. Whoever can shoot the Muppet faster, whoever has the quickest draw. But you see, anyone can shoot a gun. A child can shoot a gun. Sometimes strength comes in a form that you would never expect it to. Sometimes someone as wonderfully weird, beautiful as Tia, can have immense strength that goes unrecognized. You too have a unique strength. Not every battle you fight, you pull with a gun. Not every battle you prevented was with a bullet.
I think they were afraid of me.
I know for a fact that they were.
I made them wait for me before they made a decision with Tia. When they finally got her, they were asking if I was gonna shoot them.
They'll ask themselves why you didn't for a while, I feel. Though Cook might catch on eventually, I don't imagine the others will.
Maybe Winnie, Dahlia.
Maybe.
I could see Dahlia.
Dahlia was mighty concerned about you and says that she needs to talk to you.
Well, I telegrammed and told her that I'm here on this island. You remember how I told you that I asked some deputies to keep an eye on Tia?
Yes, I remember.
I never gave them, never gave them the full, just didn't spill any names, of course. But I told them that if they didn't keep her safe, that I might have to kill her. Do you think they tried?
I can't say. These deputies of today, I don't know them like I did back in my youth. They're almost all the same to me. Their faces overlap. Their voices all utter the same goddamn words. They're not like they were then. If you were to tell that request to some of the older deputies, they might have actually done something. But I have no hope or stock in the deputies of now. They're too busy chasing the next big catch.
I have an idea.
Utter it. It's only you, me, and the island listening.
I think we kidnap St. John. We kill his horse. And we hold him for a few days with no food or water. And we butcher that horse. Make his meals out of it. Wait until the fourth or fifth meal. We start asking him how he's enjoying the meat. That's when he'll get suspicious. They'll start asking what the meat is. And that's when we ask him if he's seen Zoe Winters lately.
That is a plan that I can get behind. You see, Zip once fed his enemy fingers of an innocent ranger, made him watch as he sliced them off her hand and shoved them down his throat. He
Chad
also,
Wickle.
yes, he also covered his mouth so he couldn't vomit them back up. He had to keep them down. People say that Zip was a mad cannibal now. The point was to get through to Chet that if he dared lay a single finger on Millie, he would make Chet do worse, for there were worse fates than death, worse realities to live through than what you can imagine. The man needed to be humbled, so Zip humbled him. And never again did Chet Wicker dare to lay a finger on Millie. Now she walks with power. I think what you will do to St. John is an excellent plan and idea. And if you need people with the stomach for it, I have been bred and raised for just the task. But I wouldn't take that joy away from your people if you already have a team in mind.
Right now, I'm just thinking it would be me, Ramiro, and Finn. Maybe Zhao if we can break him out from his impending doom.
How do you feel about a siege at sea? You see, when the deputies hit mainland, they are much harder to get, to kill. You know, they have horses and wagons and endless troves of bullshitters. The moment they hit Saint Denis, they're damn near impregnable. But at sea, it takes a certain man to have sea legs to know even how to fight there. Now, I've only seen one man be brave enough to take the fight out onto the waters, and that was James Kelly. I can't say that it went well for James Kelly, but the attempt was made and he tried. This is a thought and an idea. I have never really seen someone be able to break someone out of a execution transport before. Not Weggy, not Ava. You'd have to think unique all upon your own. It'd be the first of a lifetime if you rescue Zhao.
I have to try.
You do. But again, it will be the very first of its kind. The only man who's ever lived through execution was Jack Kettleman, and he did it on pure stubbornness alone.
I heard when he said he was bullheaded, it was actually a medical condition. His skull was 3 inches thick.
Could be.
These doors all boarded up.
Yes. It was so that no one could sneak up on Vasquez while he sat on his throne. He boarded them up himself.
Hmm. Would you like a potato?
Where'd you get them, Sisika?
Yup.
Sure, I'll take a Sissican potato. Those things go for a lot of money now in the crossing. Thank you. Should I take you to his underground prison?
Sure. Hey,
Yeah.
Celine. Going on that raid. Thank you so much.
My sister wrote a book about Vasquez. Back in the time where she fell under his spell. Quite an interesting read.
Hello. What's going on, bestie? California is doing his
Although it
I
wouldn't
just
get
killed my
more
girlfriend
free,
arc.
it gives you a more truth about Guarma than the Guarmenians can give you now.
Killed her so that there wouldn't be a Western Civil War. To save her from being tortured and eventually murdered and
This is why I
from...
say that you would enjoy the compound more than the castle. It's more intricate, more of a labyrinth than anything else.
You could fit a lot of people down here.
Yes, you can. For a very long time.
Hmm. How deep does that go?
So deep that even the local mountaineers would struggle to get you out.
So deep. So deep it put the ass to sleep. You cried yesterday, you jerk. Had me cried yesterday. I was just a little watery eyed.
The castle's a death trap. You're cornered. You have no way out. By the compound.
There's
Wow,
places to go.
there's places to go.
Hey, Palm Fam! Water.
Mm-hmm. In this cave, where Vasquez kept his prisoners and his most hated enemies, is the only cave you can find an onyx. The absolute crystallization, black magic, and bad medicine. I think they counted countless death and suffering of the people in this cave. Bring forth the onyx and create them. It's why something like the Whispering Stone shouldn't have been used in the first place.
California
Did you
doesn't believe
know
in any of
about the
this.
Whispering Stone, California?
Yeah, I know. Cook has it now.
Does he?
Yeah.
Or is it still with Sunshine?
No, Cook had it originally. And then Sunshine. It's in Sunshine saddlebags. Slowly seeping away at everything else. Probably killed that horse by now.
I want to find that Whispering Stone, California. I will pull every stable apart to find Foggy Day.
I'll send Finn to guard you on your quest to destroy the Whispering Stone.
No, I want Cook to destroy it. He's the one who brought it here.
Oh, that means you and Cook by yourselves will make like some sort of fellowship. But then we'll
Think
split
so.
off from you pretty quickly.
There's a volcano on this island. Do you think you could cast it into the flames?
It's the only way.
Do you think you can help me find Foggy Day?
Sure.
I know exactly what the horse looks like. I have a description of it from Lottie. But I need to find the exact stable boy that's holding it hostage.
We'll have to convince someone to dress up like Sunshine.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Someone who could do like a decent Sunshine impression.
You just have to convince them that they're the brightest part of their day.
Probably Ramiro.
Yes, I think Ramiro could do a fantastic sunshine impression.
Yeah, I think so. These bananas.
No. But are you hungry? Is that why you're looking for them?
Oh, accepted a job from a local man. He said he wanted 8 grilled bananas.
I see.
I
If
think I'm gonna
I
tell him to go fuck himself.
if I remember correctly, we are heading in the right way for bananas. Yes, let's keep going straight. I'm having flashback to Quilmes where Millie took us here to make banana bread and cocaine.
The cornerstones of civilization right there.
That's right. Wait until you lace that banana bread with cocaine. There you go. Now you're really living.
Then your teeth feel numb as you eat the banana bread. You know, I cracked a tooth once. Chewing cocaine gum.
I also cracked a tooth once, but I was chewing soft caramel.
Mine makes a lot more sense.
Yours really does. I was perplexed and horrified all at once. Have you ever swallowed your own tooth?
Only during fights.
Hmm. Sadly, I bruise like a peach.
Ow! I'm an ambush.
Yeah, the pigs here will fucking kill ya.
Jesus Christ.
Do you, do you have a bandage? The bastard could come back here at any moment.
I'm gonna name that pig St. John.
I feel like with the way I handle my gun now, if it comes back a second time, you might be fucked before I reload all my bullets.
It's up here somewhere. Watch out.
All right.
Where's the creature?
I'm not sure. Are you hunting the pig now?
I am. I've wounded the beast.
Let's follow its blood trail. It's heading in the ways of the bananas, anyways. Geez, taking your sweet time there.
When I was a younger man, I used to reload a gun like it was nothing. But nowadays, in my old
You
age,
know what it is? It's the arthritis.
yeah, no one will be as fast as a gunslinger as I used to be.
Old age and arthritis gets the best of us all.
Back in my day,
I bet you Mulligan Fuller can't even hold a gun anymore.
oh,
There you go.
do you have a cleaver?
I have a tomahawk. That'll work.
Is it good at butchering animals?
It's decent enough.
Or I'll butcher away. Was there any decent meat in there, or was it just still too riddled with bullets?
It was severely riddled. I might have gotten one good piece that didn't have lead in it.
Damn. Do you hear that?
The
He ran.
parrot or the gibbon? Oh, you mean the howler?
I think it was the gibbon. How old is a lady in Sissika?
There's a certain animal on this island that will howl until you go insane with the sound of its cries. It's so loud that it pierces right through your mind. It's called the howler. But you better watch out for those gibbons. They'll eat your face.
Wasn't using it anyways.
Who would have thought making banana bread with Millie one time came in handy to find these goddamn stupid banana trees?
I know there's some in Saint Denis.
They should be in this area. There's lemon trees and banana trees all in the same place, I think. But then again, I can't say I know too much about the baking and cooking on this island.
Well, what do you know, fellow?
What do you want to know?
Oh, this. What kind of branch is this?
I don't know.
Exotic sticks.
Maybe they'll make exotic fire.
You're right, I should get rid of them.
It depends. You had to pick a landmark and I could tell you about it.
I don't know any landmarks.
Let's see, I could tell you about the platforms that Jack Kettleman held down against a reign of 20 plus law. 6 Kettleman, 20 law. Blood spilled over Guarma that day. I could tell you about the fighting arena where people are trapped inside and forced to fight until they die.
Oh, I heard about that. Stitch me up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're speaking of, Lockjaw Jim.
Oh, is that what his name was?
Yes. I met him right before that tournament, that death trial.
A
Had
man
a
so
long.
fearsome and resilient, he had to get killed 5 times.
Mm. A man's will to live can be insatiably strong. More so when one's whole identity and family are on the line. These are the lemon trees. I wonder. The banana trees are close by too. I know that they're not far from each other.
These banana trees.
They're lemon trees.
These? No. Those? Maybe.
We're really close though.
Yeah, these look like lemons to me. They look like birch trees, really, but very lemon.
Shut up, you. You have no sense of taste, huh?
I just like the taste of lemon. A sour fella. There's a snake nearby.
There's always snakes here. You have to kill them first. Then again, there's a specific kind of snake that can paralyze you in one bite, so just be aware of that.
Yeah, I think I killed 2 of them. Like a genuine Hercules killing the snakes in the grass. Edgar better watch out.
You know, when you save Zhao, you don't necessarily have to go back to Thieves' Landing. Laws here are more complex and simple at the same time. You see, I once had a long conversation with Sheriff Winward about the extraction of criminals from this particular island. Once, a very long time ago, Daza had killed multiple deputies and had fled to this island. Now, I had caught Sheriff Winward pacing on the docks in Annisburg, and we had a very long conversation about the very real idea of a siege coming to this island for Daza. I was able to sell my soul to Sheriff Winward in order to keep Daza out and free. You see, I was looking at just as much time as Daza, so they said that the next time they see me, I had to turn myself in. And I gave them my word as a Westerner that I would. How fortunate it was for me that they retired soon after. But still, they had said it takes weeks, very long weeks, to set up anything to come to this island. I am not sure if that translates to the law of today. It might take very long days, but it's not as easy as just jumping on the boat, putting on a badge, and dragging a man wanted for execution off this island. More so when the island is awake like it is now, and there's a council of people who now are in charge.
I'll have to talk with Zhao about it.
I just don't see another way. In Thieves' Landing, they can scoop them up and you have the same problem again.
I've had the same problem ever since I met him. Killed his foreman. To avenge his parents.
We are looking for the highest mountain in Guarma. There, the platforms will be, and the bananas will be at the base of those platforms. Unfortunately, the canopies of these trees are so high.
I've given up on the bananas.
Well, we'll find them one day. Don't let this island defeat you, it'll eat you alive.
So far, the only one that can defeat me is me.
You are correct.
Or a bullet by Slick Rick.
Why specifically Slick Rick?
Do you know I've never been genuinely arrested?
No, I don't. Have you always turned yourself in then?
The first time I ever got arrested, I turned myself in to save Cucamonga's life.
What a waste.
It wasn't then. What's this?
You should shoot it. but not from that distance.
Too late.
There's little traps like this all over the island, you see. In the First Guarmese War, people used places like this to ambush one another. Edgar and his guerrilla warfare was a terrible thing. It sent body parts and people flying everywhere. All this dynamite's left over from that war, I'm sure.
Interesting.
Yes.
You know, there's a small part of California, sort of like this. The weather, that is.
We're next to Devil's Door.
What the hell's a devil's door?
It's right there. This is where they would held the Gormese trials back before Edgar got here. This is where the trial of the wolf would take place. One hunter, six hunted. Your job was to find the hunter and incapacitate them first. You could work as a team or you could work solo. But the hunter's one goal was to incapacitate all six. If the hunter could incapacitate all six, they won that trial.
Hmm.
Makes you wonder why they called this Devil's Door.
A hole in the ground
Mm-hmm.
with a cuck chair.
And a cozy fire nonetheless. Maybe it's the isolation. It's a real shame that out of 4 trials, I only know 3. I suppose they don't do those trials anymore, and that the original trials are now lost to time. I guess there's no one who old enough to remember them.
Anything good in there?
Just the idea that knowledge is kept inside the devil's door, and that knowledge can be a sin if you looked at it that way.
If ignorance is bliss, of course knowledge is a sin. The more we know, the more we resent. The more we rise up against our oppressors.
You are correct. But if ignorance is bliss, and living under the boot of others is what they desire, then I'd rather be, I'd rather be sinful. I'd rather have that knowledge. I'd rather taste the forbidden fruit, like Tia.
Too late, fella. Already tasted it and ruined it.
I don't think she would tell you that you ruined it. guess.
Yeah.
You wanted to live, California. That is a cross you will have to bury. You'll have to carry for the rest of your life. But she also realized that where she was not where she wanted to be, and she desired more. And it made her a better person for it, more rounded, more independent. That power was hers and hers alone. Her sisters had no right and no claim to it, and she realized that after meeting you. She said as much with her chest to Cook in her final moments. You gave her passion and fire. Just as much as you gave her coldness and death.
Hey, Reptiles go. Our character doesn't want to have this conversation.
You have this uncanny way about you that you are near unreadable at times. That's why Cook was so sure that you would shoot him and was flabbergasted when you didn't. You are unpredictable, California, and it's what makes you powerful and what makes you all consuming. Even now, when I stand behind you and I watch you, I'm not sure if you shake with the rage of my ramblings and how wrong I could be, or if it's just the idea of Tia, the pain inside of you bubbling to a point.
When I was a child, and I started to question the universe, and I thought about God, and if they were real. Thought about heaven, I thought about hell. Had this horrid thought that what if we are trapped in our corpse? And our bodies stop working, but we're still there. Feeling our bodies slowly rot from the stagnation. Feeling our blood dry. feeling our bodies being cremated. And I always dreaded what that could feel like. Motivated me for a little bit in a weird way to keep living, not lose the duels I was fighting at the time. But now I relate to that fear. You remember, baby?
Yes, I do.
I loved her and she didn't love me. And I felt like I was being an issue because Cucamonga wouldn't make his move on her because he knew I loved her. So I left for a while so they could be happy. And I thought that Cucamonga would protect her from whatever came. And when I returned, she'd been a corpse. My best friend had found another love. His life had changed. And I had to find a new purpose. I felt like I died then. I grew cold. I started to use people. Mary Glass, Zhao, Cook, Winnie, Daza. And I made a purpose for myself using these tools of people I knew. And I started to play chess. After dealing with me once, the Reeves was so scared they packed up their shit and left.
That's right. But I like to credit that a little bit to the fact that Wheat Quills had the best reefs. The only one that was worth a damn.
That's true. And slowly I grew attached. Still a corpse, but trapped inside that corpse. I grew friends. People I considered close to family. Not exactly family, because I don't subscribe to that sort of nonsense. And one day, we held a woman hostage. And she was cold. I recognized her for what she was. A corpse. With his soul stuck inside, just like me. And we ransomed her. And we played chess. Me and her. While the others watched. Daza included. She kept coming back to play chess. I started to live. I felt like that corpse I was stuck inside started to move for the first time in ages. Do you know what I feel now?
Tell me.
I feel like that movement was deceit, and it was just the maggots rifling through my flesh.
There is a hollowness and loneliness in the sting that death gives you. Trust me, I know. I've tried to kill this corpse of mine hundreds of times. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes your purpose and raison d'etre for being here is too strong, even if you can't see it, and how damn cruel it must be.
Maybe, well, maybe
Peop
it could be simple. Would you like to duel? We both shoot the count of three, and if we're lucky, we'll both die.
Would you be content with that? Dying here in this lawless, godless land? Dying with your only witness and no one would know?
Until I save Zhao.
All right. Then perhaps after you save Zhao, then we can duel over Devil's Door, the gateway to hell.
Loser has to read the books. Winner's dead.
Yes.
Where the fuck are we?
the heart of the jungle. When lost in Guarma in the dead of night, just follow the lights. Shall I tell you another story as we walk?
Kind of story.
The story about how I became a corpse. Or,
Sure.
or perhaps it's the first time I felt the maggots move underneath my skin. A long time ago, before the quills, I was a Fraser. I rode under one of the original bastards, you see, a man called Marquise Fraser, the original motherfucker. He taught us a lot of things about holding down a homestead, a location to which was yours by right of power. You see, he held down the entirety of Armadillo before the rebuild. He taught his sons and his extended gang members on how to do this so he didn't always have to be there.
Mm.
Mm,
Moonshine.
probably rum.
Oh, even worse.
This is where the Bruja lives, California.
All right, Bruja, show yourself. I'm calling you out. Don't miss.
She's a vicious one. If she catch you defiling her saloon, her rage will be unmatchable.
Oh, I've only seen you since we got here. The Spanish-speaking folk.
It's here where she dissects your soul, you see. You speak a few words at her bar, and she's able to read you like an open book. She read
Oh,
Sunshine in a very similar way. She told him that he was like the headless horseman of power and no direction.
I wonder what
But
she'll say about me.
I honestly can't say. You see, when she read my fortune, it was through another. I came here behind a man called Revenant Wright, a man who the wallaby tried to cut off his face.
Yeah.
Revenant was a serial torturer. He tortured people indiscriminately for an end of the world he thought was coming. Unlike Isa, he believed that it was a Christian end, not a Norse one, but very similar the two are and their deranged beliefs. He had lost all of his passions when he tortured his seventh victim, and no end of the world came. He thought 7 people, 7 doors, 7 endings, and nothing came. So he wandered here to Guarma, and he found himself a witch. And he He desired her to tell him that he was still the monster that he always thought that he was. When she handed us both a glass with our fortunes in tow, she told one fortune that day, not two, that the true monster was standing just beyond his reach, his shadow. That monster was me, and he was just the lamb. After all that barking and carrying on he did. So I don't know how she will read you. She didn't even have to look or talk to me to know that I was the monster lurking behind his back. Are you going to jump?
You dare me?
No.
Hmm.
I'd hate to be the only one on this godforsaken island and just having to ramble to myself.
I think Ramiro's out there somewhere. Whoops.
You motherfucker. The brew hall overlooks all from here: the compound, the castle, the church. She is the sect that sits at the highest peak.
What an unfortunate life.
You think? Why would you say that?
Heavy as the crown.
I wonder if she does think it's heavy, or if she can feel much at all. I am convinced she is the devil wearing a woman's skin. That she too is a walking corpse.
Yeah, possibly. But is the devil not a prisoner of his father?
Interesting. I'm not sure. You see, my father never preached about the devil. He thought it would incite insurrection in his little following that he had. He talked a lot about God and his chosen ones and the apostles and how things should be, not would be, and how things are and what they can't be. He never much spoke about the damned unless you were considered one.
They say the devil was a man. Well, not a man, sorry, an angel. Of acclaim. Of high importance. He's proud of his work. And wanted to be worshipped just like God. So he was cast from the heavens. Push to fall. Unforgiven.
I see.
I think that's why I like the Greek or Norse gods better than the god of Judaism or Christianity. For that god is a wrathful god.
I don't much give a damn of what the preachers say. I think that kind of god was invented by man in order to control the greater populace. I don't believe that he was ever a god at all. Much like the laws that dictate over the crossing, you see, it's all to manipulate you into thinking that there is a higher power when there is none.
I think I found your Bruja.
That is not the brouhaha.
You sure? It looks like a witch.
It perhaps is a patron of the bar that never paid his due.
A little withered guy.
Looks like he fell just from here.
Got thrown right through the railing.
By the power of La Madre itself. If you wake up a little earlier tomorrow, I assure you, you will meet this Bruja, and she will give you the conversation that you will never forget.
Yeah, maybe I shall seek her out. You
If
think
you
I
are
should
interested,
leave a
if,
mic? Let her know I've been here.
if you feel like it. But if you are interesting enough, she will seek you out. That I can promise you. After all, you don't even need to
Hmm.
say her name, and she just comes.
I know a few ladies like that.
Do you now?
Back at a place called Laguna Beach. What do you think? You think they'll get the message?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do.
Something I should do with the deputies. Let them know I was there. I'd carve them out into their sheriff's offices. Crude, of course. Getting pretty decent at it after a while.
I think it's a nice signature for you.
All the way from San Diego to Sacramento.
I wouldn't get too close to any edge.
This is not the way down.
Not in the rain. Mm. When in doubt, Iguana, follow the light. I'll finish my story now. The one I was telling you about Armadillo.
And Marquis Frazier, the original motherfucker.
Yes. He taught us how to hold down a place. Like that Armadillo Saloon, like Armadillo itself, and much like thieves. He told us the importance of having people there. And it was something that his sons listened to. You see, after some time, Marquise went back to the Bastards and left his son Moon in charge of the Fraser gang. We soon came into conflict with a certain Italian family called the Morettis. No relation to Barlettis, but every relation to the DiGenzos. This gang was relentless. They ran the Bastille before the Barlettis did. And it was, in a sense, saloon wars. Armadillo against the Bastille. One would raid the other. And never did we lose to the Morettis. We even slaughtered them all in their own home. One of the great manors of Saint Denis. We went in there and laid them all out. So they've got creative. You see, a long time had passed between the war, between our massacre at their front door. We had let our guard down, and we started to allow civilians to work for us again. And a mighty beautiful one came walking through the saloon doors, dressed in gold and black. She took my goddamn breath away, California. You see, back then I was just a low member of the gang. I ran the saloon. I didn't go on heists. I kept the money. I kept the goods. And I kept the business going. So the gang had unlimited funds. That's where I started my outlaw journey. I spent a lot of time with this beautiful woman. Her name was Jackie. And I have to admit that, yes, we did fall in love. After all, while my gang members were away, I spent days and days with just her. One day, she sends me a lovely telegram about how I've moved her heart. At the end of that beautiful telegram, she puts that she was a part of the Moretti family, that they had sent her out west to learn our secrets and to unravel us from within. And she was going to confess her sins. to Marquise, to Moon, and to everyone in the gang. You see, she had been using me in my naivety to get close to my family. I can't say to this day what she told them, but I know that whatever she felt in those moments was real because she did confess to all of those things. And gang member turned on gang member. The inner workings of our gang began to unravel almost instantly because we had let her in so close. She had learned so much, and everyone had grown to love her and like her quite a fair bit. Marquis sitting there and watching the gang unravel itself, he made an executive decision that she had to die for the greater good, no matter how pure her intent was. I took her out to the desert that day, California, and she stood there with every bit of Western grit you can imagine, looking at me, so convinced that she could take that bullet, that she could live through blood for blood, that she could repent for her sin. She stood there with no fear. And when I pulled that trigger, she died. She died with an I love you on her lips and a fierceness in her eyes. And I was told to let her rot out in the desert like the eastern rat my family thought that she was. And despite that sacrifice, the gang still ripped each other apart until there was nothing left but bitterness. She died for absolutely nothing. Everyone I've loved after that has died. The curse that I've had upon myself from killing Jackie has never been lifted. I made the wrong choice that day, killing her, for a gang that never truly loved each other or even cared. Because later on did we find out that unless you had the Fraser last name, you were nothing but disposable. Your feelings did not matter. Your sacrifices were just another drop in the bucket of a
Pawns.
greater legacy. Yes, pawns with no hope of advancement even if you reach the end of the board, as long as you are playing on a Fraser board. Some of the Frasers don't know this. Some of them had good memories in the gang. But who know? But those who know, know. Those who heard them speak those words know. And there are words that I've kept mostly to myself and haven't told the surviving Fraser members. Why ruin their perfect, pretty memories for a dead woman? I know a thing or two about killing somebody for a greater good, though my gamble and my killing of my heart was all for nothing. tomahawk that I have on my hip. Red Lance made for me out of Jackie's own bones. So I may carry her as a warrior with me always and slaughter my enemies with the woman that I love. It's a Lakota tradition.
That's sort of neat. It's like
Yeah.
how I have Saint Benoit's skull on my bookcase.
I never thought of it that way. Perhaps it is a similar reason. And here they use Tia mutilating Sunshine as an excuse, and here we are with skulls and leg bones.
Saint Benoit would have hate what I did to Tia.
Did he enjoy her company?
He did.
People fear what they don't understand, California. They persecute those who are different. It is a tale as old as time. Burnings of witches, killing of heretics. These things have been injustices since humans could hold weapons. And it's the sole reason why Tia is dead now. Because she was the easier target. Not by you, but by others, which forced you to have to move. You are also different like Tia is. But unlike Tia, you are fearsome. You are someone people fear because he is different and unreadable. She did not have that fear to go along with her name. I am truly sorry that you had to move the way that you did. You are right, though. In that chess move, California, even in your darkest hours when you tell yourself that you are wrong, your queen was in a checkmate. And only you could take her out.
You ever heard of the Chumash?
No, tell me about it.
They're a native tribe in California. They lived along the southern beaches and central plains. Do you know what a tortilla is?
Yes, I know what a tortilla is.
They made something similar out of acorn. Now,
Hmm.
acorns are poisonous to human beings. So, they would mash these acorns up into a paste, right? Like a dough, almost. And they would leave it in a running river for most of the day. And it would wash away all the toxins. And after that, they could bake it on a stone or something and make a sort of bread almost.
That's kind of that way of creative thinking is unique. Who would have thought that you can turn something poisonous into something delicious simply by letting nature do all the work?
It makes you wonder how many people had to die before they found that out.
Yes. How many people do you think will have to die here before people find out that it was all for nothing?
That all they had to do was let nature take its course.
Exactly. One day Isa will return, and one day she'll send Tia a telegram. If Tia was alive, she would be able to get that telegram, and we'd be able to get our hands on Isa. Weeks, months, years from now, who else would Isa reach out to but her three sisters? Now that Tia's gone, Isa is melted away like the frost that her name brings. We'll never know if she sends that telegram. But forward thinking is not a strength of the West.
It could be, though. It's my purpose.
To change the foundation to which Jack Kettleman has laid down the reason for bold headedness. God, I hope with every fiber in your being that you could be able to pull that off, but I am spectacle. After all, I've been a forward thinker in a land of bulls for years now. Terribly out of place.
We're dying. Not you or me, but the proverbial us. The outlaw of the Western variety.
You are correct. One day, Saint Denis will stand in the heart of Armadillo. Large buildings and organized criminals alike. And the way of the Western outlaw will be something people tell each other in story times, books, and libraries. The DiCenzos will win, California.
No, I know. Tom's on their side.
But it will not be the DiCenzos that people talk about in legends, that
They
they
might.
fantasize and dream about.
Let's be honest. They might.
There'll be many DiCenzos, like there are Barlettis, Morettis, what other Italian family pops out of the woodworks in the next 2, 3, 5 years. They're all the same, modeled after one family.
Just as so many of the West are modeled after Jack Kettleman.
I once aired similar grievances to a certain preacher man I picked up on the long side of a roadside. You see, Zip had just died, and I was riding into Armadillo to kill whatever deputy I could find. I didn't care. They were going to die. Now I saw this barefooted preacher man walking from Blackwater to Armadillo, and I thought, why not pick him up? I'll throw him off the cliff side of New Austin and keep going. What do I care if there's one less preacher in the world? So I picked him up. And because I was going to kill him, I unburdened my soul to him. I told him how the West was dead. I used the words that we all have heard 100,000 times. And he took me firm by the shoulders. And he said, "How lucky you are to be alive at this time." And he told me to stop my horse. We stopped on the side of New Austin, the cliff that looks over the deserts. And he said, "This is the last age of the outlaw, just as important as the first, if not more so. It is a time of legends. It's a time what people will talk about hundreds of years from now, how lucky you are to be a part of it. The end of it all. And it's your choice whether or not you want to shine brightly or just fade into the nothingness." As important as Jack Kettleman was in making the West, we are as just as important as watching it end and being the last to ride in it. You can shape it and change it as you wish, California. People will remember you for it. I later came to find out that that preacher was no one other than Rude Boy Rudy of the Kelly gang, of the Rude Boys, a direct descendant of Jack Kettleman and his legacy. A man I have saved the life of here on this very island, and he mine. You've come at the perfect time, California, to fulfill your dream at the end of it all, at the precipice of death. A perfect time for a walking corpse, perhaps.
I'm trying to build a raft.
Where would you go on that raft? Or is it simply to stay afloat?
As long as possible. But I need us to work together.
That has always been the West's weakness, you see. The East can.
Cannibalism.
Well, I
what it
don't know.
is.
Metaphoric
Eating
cannibalism.
ourselves. Eating each other.
Yes.
The all-consuming bull of the West.
That is what makes organized crime the lasting crime. You see, they can temporarily work together in time of needs to preserve themselves, while the West stands
Burns.
alone. Yes, it burns, and it's all self inflicted.
We are Icarus.
But there have been periods of time where the West has been able to unite against common enemies. Gavin Summers, the ranch. It has not been impossible to unite the West in certain circumstances. It just takes someone with compelling charisma and one hell of a vision. You once united the West against the ranchers, you and your Thieves' Landing. A smaller enemy, yes, than the larger enemy of extinction. But it has been done. It really is up to you if Tia's death means nothing. You understand that, yes?
It means everything. I have to take a boat trip back to Ainsburg just for telegram.
Yes, you will have to. But I do think you should meet some of the people here on the island. I think they can give you a broader perspective. After
Oh,
all, what better place that you can see what working together brings than here in Gorma?
in a place in the middle of a civil war.
Yes. Sometimes a little bit of war is good to bring people closer together.
You got enough money to get back here? To go to
I, sh-
Ainsburg?
I should.
Would you like to join me on an annoying boat trip and a return?
All right. Though I would assume you'd had enough of my monologuing rambles of nothingness.
It's
I
nice
got
to
that.
have background noise instead of just hearing her speak to me her last words.
I suppose that you're right. If there's one thing a quill is good for, it's providing that background noise.
It's true.
Mm.
Zip wouldn't shut the fuck up.
It's one thing that I profoundly inherited from the man. I acknowledge that full heartedly.
I find I was always grandiose,
What does that mean?
theatrical.
Oh, I think that's why I like you.
Hmm, thanks.
Hmm?
But Zip showed me how to incorporate violence into it.
Yes. He was good at the theatrics and taking people's breath away with things they couldn't even comprehend that he would do.
I
But he did
watched
it anyways.
a man take out a gun against him, and within an instant, Zip had knocked it out of his hands and then proceeded to beat the living shit out of him.
Yes.
That was Chedwick.
He absolutely hated it when people pointed a gun without conviction. It was one of his biggest pet peeves.
I'm happy I never disappointed him in that aspect.
Me too.
I'm already buying my return ticket.
So did I. Forward thinking.
Hola.
Blood. Blood samples.
What?
They want blood samples. Captain Archer Cook. Hmm.
Hmm.
Oh, we got a while.
Oh, yeah.
This must have been a beautiful little town.
It still is. Even in its ruin. After all, that backdrop, that untouched wild forest, it's enough to take your breath away.
Too much green.
What other color would you paint it?
Brown. Dried grass. Oak trees.
Sounds like New Austin.
Sounds like California. That's what I like. The area around McFarland's ranch. When life was
Um,
simple,
mm,
have one of those blankets made by the Chumash, laid under an oak tree, sit against it as you read a book. The small sound of acorns falling off the tree.
it sounds nostalgic. I'll never come to love that area around the ranch or look at it the same way again. It will always be stained with Zipquil's blood for me. With the shame that I couldn't save the one man that I idolized most, and he died a slow and painful death beside me. I will never be able to stomach that it was Cucamonga that did it.
In a
The
weird
la-
way, I feel like Zip would have it no other way.
There's a great irony there that the last, or one of the last apprentices of Zip Quill was to end him.
Both of us shot him. What a world, huh?
Yes, you are the last apprentice of Zip Quill, and I was the very first.
I think Cucamonga was the last.
Can we just erase that scourge from the Quill existence?
Nope. It's there.
Quilltastic. It's a real shame that the gang will never get that blood, that by the time Cucamonga comes back, we'll be disbanded.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
By the time he comes back, I'll probably be dead. He still owes me a duel.
That makes me sad. I find less and less those people I'm able to have these long conversations with nowadays. At the moment I start to grow any sort of fondness for someone as an individual, they go and get themselves killed.
Oh, thanks, NASCAR.
Again, it's that everlasting curse from killing Jackie. Then again, much like you feel like you should be isolated, screaming at the top of your lungs and banging on walls, so do I. But perhaps my punishment is internal loneliness. Everlasting, it would seem.
Gotta kill you next.
Please.
It's no fun when you ask for it.
I know it's off putting,
You gotta say something like, I wanna live.
but then I would be lying.
Isn't that the worst?
Yes. Because I like to always tell the truth if I can.
Same.
I spent a great deal of my life lying to myself and others. I refuse to live that way anymore. Would it disappoint you to think that we only were talking for 7 minutes?
Nope. I felt it was only 3. I'm gonna stay towards the center of the boat. For some reason, I feel like there's some bad voodoo at the front of the boat being
Oh,
left
no.
behind awkwardly.
Oh,
Read a book once about a man like that. A fella who loved gold.
I knew a whole family with the last name Gold.
Terrifying. Can only imagine.
They've been wiped off the face of the earth, it would seem.
You know, there's a
Faded.
cage in the back of that castle.
I do.
I wonder who they put in there.
I shudder to imagine what it would be like to be captured by Edgar and not instantly killed. I imagine he would tell you his life story and his ambitions and everything endlessly.
You know the best part about people like Edgar?
What?
Is they're so busy trying to use you, they don't realize when they're being used.
Hmm. You're correct. They also don't realize when they've been double crossed because how could someone be a bigger double crosser than them? You see, Edgar's greatest weakness is he never notices the lesser people around him. You see, he only puts stock and credit into the larger chess pieces he has on his board, the kings, things like this. He is scarcely aware that if he stands in direct angle of a pawn, that they could take him out, or at least hinder his plan, which often flabbergasts him. I can say that with confidence because I've done it to him of quite a few times, and he's never been able to figure out that it was me. The reason I saved the Bruja that day when he slit her throat was not because I had empathy for the Bruja herself. It was not because I had loyalty to the Bruja. I was just as angry at her as I was Edgar for us being captured and forced to be there. But you see, he wanted to prove a point. He wanted to end that story in a horrific way of blood. And I took that from him. I took that from the Bruja as well, it would seem. Because when I held her neck closed, she almost looked like she wanted me to reopen it. Eyes so bright and round, smile so large, even though she was choking on her own blood. She was elated with joy. So excited to die and go to the other side. So I stitched her throat up. And as I did that, I also ensured that Root Boy Rudy could stand, that he could push back Edgar and his gang long enough for me to get James Kelly on his feet as well. I did all of that out of spite, not out of any blind loyalty to anyone. I later on came to find out that Edgar was looking for the medic who had did all of that, because he was flabbergasted that one would be so brazen. It's a pity he'd never believe it was me, even if I told him. I think that will be Edgar's downfall, or at least his greatest weakness, is that he'll have his feet taken out from underneath of him by a pawn,
This is the best part about
because he made
RPing with
one
Vinny, you
careless
guys.
misstep and stepped in front of them,
Is I don't have to do
or
any
in
of the
this case in
RP.
chess,
We
completely
can just like wind up Vinny and
diagonal of them.
Vinny will just keep going. We're getting like all the exposition of Guarma for free. It's like an audiobook. It's fantastic. All these politics.
Yes. Guarma is a land of politics.
For a place with no telegram.
For a place with no telegrams. I think that's why. For a land that is so small and almost like a gated community, so cut off from the rest of the world practically. All they can do is hone their skills in politics.
I think one of these days I want to be selfish. I don't know. Might give it a try.
I sincerely hope that you do. After all, one of the worst and best character traits of any good Western outlaw at the end of the day is selfishness.
Just stuck at an impasse. Being crushed by two forces. I'm fighting civilization and progress. And on the other hand, I'm also fighting our very nature.
Let civilization and progress come. And make sure when it comes knocking on New Austin's door, it meets the end of your gun.
Eventually we'll run out of bullets.
But won't it be one hell of a fight?
I don't think it will. I think we all imagine it'll be with a shout, an uproar. But I think the way the outlaw will die with a whimper.
That's only if you allow it. After all, you are one of the last great heads of the West, Kelly.
And they'll cut us all down. They'll kill me. They'll kill Cook. They'll kill the gang leaders of whatever small outfits are out there. Duddy Dougie, Slick Rick will get shot side by side. And then all that will be left will be everyone else. You see that? That is a fast animal. Is that a fox?
A coyote?
No, it's
But
a
I thought it
fox.
but I thought it was a bear.
It's a fox. Look at that thing.
I was almost dead.
What does that mean, you think?
fox as a.
Fox runs into the middle of a civilized industrial area. A coal mining town of all places. Runs where it don't belong onto the docks of a boat. Looks at us and leaves. Like it was waiting for us to arrive.
Morning to you.
It's whatever you think it is, and whatever you can make it. After all, if you say something with enough conviction, you can make it true.
I don't know. What do you think, Indy? What does the fox say?
Interesting. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. Guess how many telegrams I've received?
How many?
Not a damn one.
Those fucking bastards.
That means Xiao's not getting close at execution just yet. Marshall's still deliberating, probably. Figure out a real nasty way to do it to him. Unless they killed him in secret and we didn't know.
I doubt that they would do that. They have to at least notify his next of kin. At least. Perhaps you've gotten no telegrams because they sincerely don't know what to say to you in these moments.
Good. Because whatever they would say would be wrong.
I agree. I feel that way when any of my Fraser brothers speak of Jackie. I know that they say it out of a place of compassion for me because I still grieve her death. But anything that they say is wrong. Because they don't understand. And they pushed so hard to kill her for a family that was not even worth a damn. Now I understand in Western principle that she was a Eastern rat. But she belonged to me.
Starting to count more whorehouses than church houses.
I'm getting used to seeing more bad than good.
Is there any place you'd like to visit before we head back to Guarma? I would say the answer to that was no.
Better.
It was not a matter of want.
Waiting on the right. Ain't that the way?
Our telegrams come together for that day. Our telegrams to you and I. The questions she asked you and the answers that she gave me are simple, simple words saying I want to live. That's all that she sent me.
I got a lot of telegrams from her that day.
You should cherish them.
I want to burn them.
But when you burn them, they're gone forever.
No.
Then again, if you keep them, you read them endlessly. I've kept all of Jackie's, and I read them daily.
Hmm.
Heard they found a man hanged himself in his room at the inn.
Just when I thought I heard it all.
What'd that horse do there?
Perhaps it's a free spirit. Oh, this horse is not a local horse.
No. I could have sworn this door opened just a second ago, too. I think this horse belongs to a ghost.
You think maybe we should ask the ghosts the secrets of the afterlife?
Some sort of paranormal activity.
You think if we get the secrets of the afterlife, Malcolm will be forever indebted to us?
Don't know, never met him.
I should introduce you. If anything, he's fun to talk to for a short time.
You know, I'm gonna send a little Slick Rick and Dirty Dougie.
Sure.
The lawman gets shocked. It's time!
Oh well. A combat logged on accident, guys. My game crashed. Reported. Straight to hell, straight to hell.
There you are.
What a silly gunfight. It made me fall asleep.
That's alright. I fucking killed them all.
You know what's bad when you're falling asleep in the middle of shooting some fellas?
That's alright. I think I killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
I helped there for a bit.
You sure did. You killed that lawman on the porch. I feel rather disappointed that you missed my heroics.
Yeah.
No, take me at my word.
All right. You ready to leave?
Yes. Wonderful, Mr. Boat. How much time do you think we have?
There he is. Look.
The fox?
Yeah. Hello, friend.
The witch of tall trees once told me my spirit animal was a fox.
You were going to go armor for a little bit.
I'm starting to think I know entirely too many witches.
Finn told me that your spirit will be represented by an animal. You might hallucinate from the opium he sells.
I see, yes. Continue.
I hallucinated a panther.
There are a few great panthers in this crossing of ours. But there's an even greater one on the island of Forma. Panthers are a silent killer, you see. Unlike cougars, they don't announce the fact that they're going to kill you. They simply jump on you and bite your neck. One hit, one kill. And a lifetime of stalking. There's a great story here in Lemoyne about a certain panther. I think they called it the Shadow of Lemoyne, and how it had a grudge against one particular deputy, just one. You see, this deputy went out hunting one day and ended up killing a young panther. That young panther was the mate of the Shadow of Lemoyne. And that shadow never forgot that it killed its mate. And hunted that deputy for years. Every time that deputy went to Lemoyne, that shadow hunted him. There's a series of tales of great battles between Rip Riley.
Yep.
Between Rip Riley and that shadow. I think you can find them if you looked hard enough.
I don't know
I
who Rip
guess not.
Riley is.
Some Muppet deputy. Probably retired now and living a happily ever after life. The moral of the story is that the Shadow of Lemoyne never forgot, and each time that deputy came into its territory, it would attack him in the most vicious of fashions.
Terrifying.
The superior hunter.
What kind of lore would you think you'd use in the ocean?
I don't know. My friend Bud always used the lobster traps. I would imagine whatever lure that they don't have in the crossings, considering this is salt water and the crossing is all fresh.
I'm assuming a lake lore.
I mean, sure, you could try a lake lure in the ocean. Why
What is
not?
the ocean but a big lake? You see any fish down there?
No, but I can take you to the portion of the island that has sharks if you wish to catch yourself a great white.
No, I don't.
That's a shame. I'd love to see you pick it up with one hand.
I need to find a place to lay my head.
The church didn't satisfy you?
There's just a lot of people moving about.
I see.
I didn't recognize and didn't have a feeling that I wanted to talk to. So I just blended into the background, pretended like I wasn't there.
That's Let's see. An interesting place I can take you. I can take you to the resort on the other side of the island if you so desire.
That's where I get robbed.
You might. By swindlers and drifters. But if you prefer to stay on this side, I'm sure we can find you a suitable place to rest.
You think if I just started sleeping on the compound, they'd get a little bit irritated?
Perhaps. But who cares?
Maybe. I did send some telegrams to some fellows.
Oh. Is it to come meet you here?
Well, I mean, that war with the law, I mean, is weighing heavy on a lot of us. So maybe
Sounds
changing the scenery, maybe make some money in the process.
sounds like you can use a nice vacation. You know, I hear Guarma's a good place for that.
I
And
heard.
and if peace doesn't sate you, the chaos here will.
No, that's what I was saying. What about this blue house? You think anyone's there?
I'm like 90% sure it's Herbie's house.
Too bad I'm kicking the door in. It's a community center.
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, go sleep in the community pool, I guess.
Oh God, there's a. How long you been in here, you freak?
So which is the Bruja?
Is it?
I don't. How could you imagine? What? There's chains in here. You sure you want to sleep in here? I'm pretty sure this is where they torture people.
I feel like the woman is the torturer.
This is the community center. She's the
She's just-
recreationist.
That ain't the Bruja, that's the Blair Witch.
Why is this the community center?
I'm going somewhere else. I just.
That was possessed. Out of all my times here, I did not know that fucking Bruja was in there.
That weird freak. Maybe this place.
Maybe this place.
To make sure the lock of the door works. Oh, thank goodness.
Okay. I see no note, no mailbox. You should be fine. Are you checking it, all the perimeters for secret Brujas?
Well, I'm making sure that I'm not going to get slaughtered in my sleep. All right, I'm marking the door.
Mm. Good night, California. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, indeed.
Thank you for indulging my endless monologues of nothingness.
Try to sleep tonight.
I'll try, but I make no promises I can't keep.
Hopefully one of us will.
Hopefully, wouldn't that be nice?